Have you ever imagined what the first conflict between Lucifer and God in the heavens was like? An epic battle where the most beautiful of angels rebelled against the Creator, seeking to be worshipped as a god. But what were the true reasons behind this revolt? What hidden details from the apocryphal scriptures don't appear in the more well-known texts? In this video, we will reveal secrets about Lucifer's fall, from his exalted position as the bearer of light to his transformation into Satan, the great adversary. So get ready for a spiritual journey full of mystery. Leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any details of this surprising story. Who was Lucifer before the fall? Lucifer, before the fall, is described as a being of incomparable light, whose brilliance and beauty surpassed that of all other angels. His name, Bearer of Light, alludes to his role in radiating divine glory and leading the heavenly choirs in worship of God. Jewish tradition, found in works like the Talmud and expanded in apocryphal texts, reinforces the idea that he held a privileged position and nearly unmatched power, being one of the three main archangels alongside Michael and Gabriel. In the Book of Enoch, an apocryphal work of great relevance for understanding the spiritual world, Lucifer is presented as a cherub who inhabited God's own throne, walking among the fiery stones, a symbol of his intimacy and closeness with the Creator. The passage in Ezekiel 28, often interpreted as a reference to the king of Tyre, is also used by scholars to describe Lucifer. You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. His appearance and exalted role distinguished him as the ruler of light, responsible for leading the angels in praise. Apocryphal sources, like the Apocalypse of Abraham, expand on this narrative, mentioning that Lucifer possessed the gift of celestial music, serving as the leader of songs and praises. He was seen as the divine maestro, the one who orchestrated the celestial symphony that echoed God's glory. The idea that he had musical instruments embedded within him is described in Ezekiel 28:13, which speaks of tambourines and flutes prepared on the day of his creation. Additionally, in esoteric tradition and Gnostic texts like the Gospel of Judas, Lucifer was considered a guardian of wisdom and spiritual knowledge. He understood the mysteries of creation and was seen as the angel of greatest intelligence and cunning. This profound knowledge, however, became his downfall, for in recognizing his own grandeur, the seed of pride was born, leading him away from his original purpose. The first conflict, the emergence of pride and envy. The emergence of pride and envy in Lucifer is one of the most intriguing aspects of the narrative of his fall. Rooted in both canonical scriptures and apocryphal and mystical texts. In Isaiah 14:12-15, we find one of the most emblematic descriptions. How you have fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the dawn. How you have been cast down to the earth, you who weakened the nations. Although this passage is directed at the king of Babylon, it is often interpreted by scholars as an allegory for Lucifer's fall, reflecting his insatiable desire to ascend above God. In apocryphal writings, such as the Book of Enoch and the life of Adam and Eve, Lucifer's first conflict with God is detailed with greater depth. The life of Adam and Eve recounts that after the creation of Adam, God commanded all the angels to bow in reverence to his new creation. Lucifer, feeling outraged, refused to obey, saying, "I will not bow before a being made of clay. I am made of fire and light, and I am the highest of the angels." Here, Lucifer's pride becomes evident, as he could not accept that humanity, inferior in substance, would receive such attention and importance. The Apocalypse of Moses reinforces this narrative by highlighting Lucifer's anger and revolt at the divine command. His envy was not only directed at Adam, but at God's very plan, which he saw as an affront to his own glory and position. Lucifer's pride, described as an internal flame that continuously grew, led him to challenge divine sovereignty believing that he himself deserved to be worshipped and exalted. Esoteric and Gnostic texts, such as the Gospel of Thomas, offer a more symbolic view, suggesting that Lucifer's pride was the first spark of self-awareness and questioning within the celestial realm. For these texts, Lucifer represents the first being to seek gnosis, spiritual knowledge, in a way that defied divine control, which led him to develop a burning envy, not only of God but of creation itself. He saw in humans the possibility of a love and devotion that he desired for himself. The book, The Secret Doctrine by Helena Blavatsky, an esoteric work from the 19th century, mentions that Lucifer symbolized the archetype of rebellion and the pursuit of absolute freedom. According to Blavatsky, Lucifer is a complex figure, representing both enlightenment and the fall, a being who, in elevating himself to a level of self-awareness, became the first dissenter. This echoes the interpretation that his pride was what distanced him from humility and divine service, leading him to challenge the very order established by God. The episode of Lucifer's emerging pride is not just an isolated event, but the beginning of a cosmic transformation, where the harmony of heaven is disrupted by the seed of rebellion, planted by the very bearer of light. The heavenly rebellion, the battle that changed the fate of the heavens. The celestial battle between Lucifer and the angelic armies led by Michael is one of the most dramatic and symbolic passages in religious traditions, narrated both in biblical texts and a series of apocryphal and esoteric writing. In Revelation 12:7-9, we get an epic vision of this confrontation. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back, but they did not prevail. This description captures the essence of the conflict between good and evil, a war that transcends the material world and reflects a spiritual struggle of universal proportion. In apocryphal texts such as the Book of Enoch, this battle is described in greater detail. According to Enoch, Lucifer, consumed by pride, manages to convince a third of the angels to join his rebellion, promising them glory and a new order under his command. The Book of Giants, a derivative of the Book of Enoch, also mentions this conspiracy, where Lucifer, now known as Samael, acts as the instigator of the revolt. He argues that God had shown excessive favor towards humanity, and that the angels, beings of greater power and wisdom, should be the rightful rulers of creation. The fight between Lucifer's angels and God's armies, led by Michael, is depicted as an epic battle, involving fiery swords and deafening sounds of celestial trumpets. In Jewish tradition, Michael is regarded as the prince of the heavenly hosts, who stands unshaken in the face of Lucifer's malice and pride. The Apocalypse of Abraham suggests that Michael not only faced Lucifer with strength, but also with words of rebuke, calling him a deceiver and one who sought to distort the light of truth. Esoteric and Gnostic texts, such as the Pistis Sophia, offer a symbolic interpretation of the battle, suggesting that the confrontation was not only physical, but also a spiritual and philosophical clash, a dispute between obedience and absolute freedom. Lucifer argued that the celestial order was a form of tyranny, and that he offered the angels true liberation, the possibility of becoming gods in their own right. This perspective adds a deeper tone to his rebellion, showing that it was not merely a matter of power, but also of ideology and vision of the cosmos. Another interesting account is found in the second book of Adam and Eve, which mentions that the battle in heaven reverberated throughout creation, affecting both the spiritual and physical world. Lightning and thunder were seen on earth, and the sea roiled as if struck by a divine storm. This apocryphal description suggests that the impact of the war between Lucifer and Michael was so intense that it left scars on the very fabric of reality. In the context of Orthodox Catholicism, this battle is seen as the beginning of an ongoing war between good and evil, where Michael continues to serve as the protector of the Church and the faithful against the forces of darkness. The hymn of Saint Michael the Archangel reflects this belief. Defend us in battle, be our safeguard against the wickedness and snares of the devil. Christian tradition reinforces the image of Michael as the eternal champion who did not hesitate to confront Lucifer, even knowing his power and prestige among the angels. In esoteric tradition, there is a symbolic view that associates this battle with the cycle of spiritual transformation. Lucifer, as the bearer of light, symbolized enlightenment, but his fall and confrontation with Michael are seen as an archetype of the internal struggle between consciousness and the ego. The ego, represented by Lucifer, seeks power and recognition, while consciousness, symbolized by Michael, upholds humility and truth. Exile and the fall, the spiritual and cosmic impact. The fall of Lucifer and his exile are described as events of great magnitude, affecting not only heaven, but leaving a profound and lasting impact on all of creation. The expression "fall like lightning," cited by Jesus in Luke 10:18, reflects the speed and intensity of this expulsion. At that moment, Lucifer's transformation into Satan, the adversary, marked the first instance when disorder and darkness attempted to corrupt the harmony of the cosmos. Apocryphal texts, like the Book of Enoch, detail that Lucifer's fall was accompanied by a legion of angels, now known as fallen angels or Nephilim, who were enticed by his promises of a new era under his rule. According to the second book of Enoch, these angels, upon being cast down to earth, brought with them forbidden and corrupted knowledge, teaching humanity occult practices such as metal manipulation, sorcery, and astrology, distorting God's original plan for mankind. Orthodox tradition and the writings of the Church Fathers also emphasize that Lucifer's fall was the first major spiritual impact on earth, creating a clear division between heaven and hell. According to St. Augustine in his work City of God and Confessions, the fall of Lucifer represents the beginning of the conflict between the city of God, the angels and saints, and the city of man, corrupted by sin and Satan's influence. Augustine suggests that in falling, Lucifer dragged with him a significant portion of the angelic order, creating a chasm between the divine and the earthly realm. The Apocalypse of Moses, an apocryphal text, describes the fall as a cosmic event where the very ground of heaven opened, creating a gateway to the abyss. Lucifer, in his glorious angelic form, was stripped of his light, transforming into a being of darkness. This transformation is symbolic, indicating that he lost not only his position, but also the essence of his nature. He became the adversary, the opposite of the light he once bore. The impact of the fall is further detailed in esoteric sources like The Secret Doctrine by Helena Blavatsky, who views Lucifer's expulsion as an allegory for the arrival of duality in the universe. According to Blavatsky, Lucifer symbolizes the awakened mind and the quest for freedom, and his fall marks the beginning of the conflict between light and darkness, knowledge and ignorance. She posits that this event created an imbalance in the spiritual plane, a discord that continues to resonate today in the ongoing struggle between good and evil. In Islamic tradition, the fall of Lucifer is mirrored in the story of Iblis, the angel who refused to bow before Adam. The Quran's passages on Iblis narrate that he was cast out of paradise and condemned to roam the earth until the day of judgment. This narrative reinforces the idea that the fall was the direct result of pride and disobedience, marking the beginning of Satan's attempt to lead humanity astray from the path of truth. The change of name from Lucifer to Satan symbolizes this deep and irreversible transformation. In Hebrew etymology, Satan means adversary, and his new role is clearly defined. He becomes the accuser of humanity, the one who tempts and deceives. The Book of Job offers a glimpse of this new role, where Satan appears before God, questioning Job's faithfulness and attempting to provoke his downfall. The shift in function, from an angel of light to the accuser, illustrates the extent of the impact of his rebellion. Additionally, in Kabbalistic traditions, Lucifer's fall is interpreted as the creation of the shells of impurity, or Qliphoth, representing the negative and distorted aspects of creation. These esoteric concepts suggest that the fall opened the way for chaotic and unbalanced forces to manifest, influencing both the physical and spiritual worlds. The presence of these chaotic energies symbolizes the dark legacy of Lucifer, who now seeks to divert and corrupt the original purpose of creation. In religious iconography and art, Lucifer's fall is often depicted dramatically, with images of a dazzling angel being cast down from the heavens, his wings burning as he plunges towards the abyss. Works like Paradise Lost by John Milton explore this scene with poetic depth, describing the fall as a descent from grace to disgrace, from a state of pure light to the eternal shadows of hell. The consequences of the fall. Lucifer's role on earth and in the scripture. After the fall, Lucifer took on the role of Satan, the opposer, and his new mission became an unending challenge against God's divine plan and creation. The Bible and various apocryphal traditions indicate that he became the primary tempter, using cunning and deceit to lead humanity away from the truth and into perdition. The book of Job is one of the earliest clear references to this role. Satan appears in heaven as the accuser, questioning Job's faithfulness and integrity, seeking to test his loyalty to God. This account illustrates Satan's new role as the adversary, the one who tries to prove that humanity is unworthy of divine grace. In the Gospel of Nicodemus, an apocryphal text, Satan is depicted as the prince of demons, leading evil spirits in his attempt to corrupt and dominate the physical world. He became the god of this age as described by Paul in 2 Corinthians 4:4, blinding the minds of people so they cannot see the light of the gospel. Satan's actions reflect his ongoing envy and hatred for God's creation, especially humankind, which he sees as the cause of his downfall. Satan's malevolent influence is evident in various biblical episodes, such as the temptation of Christ in the desert, where he offers Jesus all the kingdoms of the world in exchange for worship, revealing his desire to subvert God's purpose. Apocryphal texts, like the Apocalypse of Peter, mention that Satan operates not only on earth, but also in the spiritual realm, seeking souls and attempting to corrupt even the righteous. His actions are portrayed as an ongoing battle for the human soul, where he accuses, tempts, and deceives, exploiting human weaknesses and desires. This constant struggle is symbolized in passages like 1 Peter 5:8. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Esoteric and Gnostic traditions offer a more complex view of Lucifer, Satan's role after the fall. In texts like the Gospel of Judas and the Pistis Sophia, Satan is seen as an ambiguous figure who, despite his rebellion, still plays a role in the divine plan. Some Gnostic texts suggest he represents the archetype of knowledge and enlightenment, the one who challenges the status quo and pushes humanity to seek truth through doubt and overcoming obstacles. For the Gnostics, Lucifer is akin to Prometheus, who brought fire, knowledge to humanity, even if through methods deemed heretical by Orthodox tradition. In Kabbalistic traditions, the fall of Lucifer gave rise to the concept of Sitra Achra, the other side, which represents the dark and hidden aspects of creation. Kabbalists interpret Satan as a force that serves the purpose of testing and strengthening the faith of the righteous. He acts as a cosmic accuser, an agent of trial whose function is to expose human weaknesses and faults, compelling them to seek redemption and spiritual growth. The tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil are seen as symbols of this duality, where the presence of Satan is essential for the process of purification and spiritual progress. In Orthodox Christianity, the figure of Satan is portrayed clearly and unequivocally as the Prince of Darkness, the leader of the infernal hosts. According to the Catechism of the Catholic Church, Satan continues to exert his malevolent power over the world, tempting souls and opposing the kingdom of God until the end of times, when he will be finally defeated and cast into the lake of fire, as described in Revelation 20:10. The Our Father prayer includes the petition, "Deliver us from evil," understood by theologians as a plea for protection against Satan and his snare. Religious literature and art frequently depict Satan as the great seducer and deceiver, a being who takes on multiple forms to infiltrate the minds and hearts of men. Works like Paradise Lost by John Milton portray Satan as a complex character, a tragic rebel who refuses to submit and chooses to reign in hell rather than serve in heaven. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven, a phrase that encapsulates his irreparable pride and unwavering resolve to challenge divine authority. Additionally, in demonology, the study of malevolent spiritual entities, Satan is often associated with the 7 deadly sins, symbolizing the essence of evil that corrupts the human heart. He is seen as the personification of envy, wrath, and pride, attributes that distanced him from his original state of light and condemned him to an eternal role of opposition. Finally, the impact of Lucifer's fall and his new role as Satan is not limited to the spiritual realm. In various religious traditions, he is credited as the force behind disasters, diseases, and wars, tirelessly attempting to divert creation from God's path. His influence is a constant reminder of the cosmic battle between good and evil, and his presence symbolizes the eternal challenge that each human being faces on their spiritual journey. We've reached the end of this epic and revealing journey about Lucifer's fall and the cosmic impact of this heavenly rebellion. But this story is just the beginning of a series of mysteries and secrets hidden in the scriptures. If you're curious to learn more about supernatural events, spiritual battles, and what all of this means for our lives today, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell to be the first to receive our upcoming videos, and continue diving with us into the deepest mysteries of spirituality. Your journey is just beginning.